Welcome to everybody who wasn't here before. Nice to have you. We're going to talk about generative AI right now, and as you might know, this topic is everywhere. I'm a professional moderator, and I'm not sure if I had any event this year where generative AI didn't play a role and wasn't part of the agenda. And there is a lot of fluff around this conversation, but our next speaker is Laura Müller, and she is definitely not a fluffer. She built and leads the first UX UI team for Henkel and is going to tell us how to infuse UX teams with generative AI. Please, with all the joy and love you have, warmly welcome Laura Müller.
While we're waiting, let's just be decorative. Stretch bits, yeah. I think you're getting a handheld first. Okay, now it works.
No.
It worked 4 minutes ago. That's the best for a speaker, you know, to challenge myself now. That's fine. Hello? Still not working. This is the tech desk.
Gives us time to bring everybody in. Oh, I'm loud now. Are you loud too? That's
Hello? No?
Ah! But I think this is on. Don't worry. I see the people who are responsible working hard.
Now? Yeah, okay.
Wonderful.
Great, okay. So with this mic now, so my name is Laura. As mentioned already, I built the first user experience team for Henkel. And today I'm going to share the story of how 2 years ago we started to integrate generative AI into our process. And before I get started with, let's say, it's going to be full of content, so buckle up, yeah. This is me learning how to surf this summer. And why do I want to share this story? Well, I prepared well. I tried, okay, this is my sabbatical. I took 2 months. I'm going to put everything in it. I'm going to train. And then I went into the waves. And what happened? I got scared. I got scared so much that I wanted to leave the ocean immediately. This took many steps. And then I went back in, back out, back in, back out. I had fear. Then I overcame the fear. I thought it's over. And then I went back in. And I saw myself on that picture there. But now I'm a bit here. Yeah. So still a very bloody beginner, but getting better. And these are the steps how to learn surfing. So it becomes obvious. You have to start it at the beginning. And then you move to intermediate and advanced. And this is a bit how I also see it when our role as UX designers is currently being redefined. So we are being thrown into this ocean of uncertainty. There are so many tools out there. It's super hard. I also got scared 2 years ago, and we are all having this question, what is our future going to be? And then I thought, okay, let's overcome my fear and let's put some structure. I mean, a lot of you here are researchers, are product managers. We are building products from scratch. So we are very used to this process. And in a way, I try to do the same with my team, with moving from beginner to advanced over the past 2 years. And today I'm going to show you the steps, how we went through it, and there are going to be lots and lots of examples. So I hope I'm not overwhelming you with content, but the reason why I wanted to give you as much content as possible is when I usually sit in the audience like you today, then I hear all these, let's say, nice charts, nice things, and then I sit back at my desk and I cannot transfer it. So today, my mission to you is that you can transfer as much as possible of what I'm showing you today. So after understanding the basics, this is something I think you are all already did. It's important that we are now having a different way of coming up with things. So now want to come up with a team of a very funny cat. Yeah? So I'm just imagining you all have a different image in mind of what this cat could be like. And then, of course, now we have so much data at our hand. With a simple prompt, we can find as many cats as we need. We had the A/B test before. We come down to 3. We say, okay, we want to create a campaign. Let's do it as fast as possible. And then in the end, we get to the result. Maybe before, it took us maybe weeks and weeks and weeks. And now we can do it in 2 or 3 days. So the process is really changing a lot. And I think that's one of the essence here. The other essence is, because we have this speed in certain topics, it doesn't mean that we are now all just running. It means that we really take a step back and think about, okay, what can we use the additional time for that we couldn't do before? And I will also show you a bit how we did it. Of course, the first thing you do is, of course, you have to explore the different AI tools that are out there that can help you. And for that, again, it was super overwhelming, an ocean of tools after ChatGPT got out. And today, I'm going to show you a bit how we structured this. So we defined so-called agents in our team who all had a different topic area. So one was responsible for content, one was responsible for UX UI design, one was responsible for testing. We structured it that way that we are not just showing each other tools blindly and then there's no expert. So now if I have a question regarding prompting, I know I can go to the prompting expert in my team and can ask her. Or if I don't know how to solve a certain research task, I can go to the person that's specified in research. And by that I mean, hey, is there a tool that can help me and how? And here you can also see the structure of our board. So we have, of course, like from Agile, the backlog, the tools we want to try out, the ones that are in the waiting list, the one where testing is in progress, the ones we defined in our team as ready to use, and I will also show you this in a second, and the ones that are not recommended from our side because they just don't work for Henkel. And then, of course, we went deeper into the tools and understood, okay, in order to be good in using these tools, we have to get better at prompting. Who here in the audience tried prompts before? Okay, all of them. So I'm not gonna then go in detail through the prompting tips because you probably know it then. But of course, you have to be clear and concise. You have to know exactly how you want it because then the delivery will get better. You have to provide context because the better the context is, the better the tool will understand what you need. And here I really want to give a bit of an example of when you meet a new person, right? When you meet a new person, you don't know how is this person gonna understand what I'm saying. And for that, it's super important that you just ask questions. How do you perceive it? How do you understand? And then after a while, you get to a so-called common language. And this is the same for those AI tools. So when you initially start using them, maybe you will have a bit of frustration saying, this tool doesn't understand me. And then it might lead to, okay, I'm not going to use it, or AI isn't just for me. Yeah, but this is not the outcome that it should be, right? It should be, okay, how can the tool learn about me? How can the tool understand me better so that I can get the results I need? And for that, I would really suggest a bit the same as me in surfing the summer. Don't forget the fun. Yeah, just iterate. Also try something funny. Learn about the tools. Learn about the specifics of the tools. And I think the best way to do it is just to try out as much as possible to get better. And then, of course, you have I call it the anatomy of a prompt that, of course, will help you. Yeah, so you put yourself into the shoes of a persona, which is quite handy when you do research. You provide the context. You give the specific task. You give an example so the AI can learn from you, and then ideally also the format and the tone. As I said, we have an expert in our team for prompting, and a lot of input you see here is from her. And what we decided to do is, with all the knowledge we built, is we built a prompt library. I think if you become an expert in prompting, this is not necessary anymore. But especially for those who are starting out, I have a few new joiners in my team at the moment who are not that deep in the AI topics yet. So we collected the prompts that help us in our specific use cases, just so that everybody has access to it. The next step is, I put it still in beginner, but maybe it's already moving into intermediate, is to establish workflows within your teams. Because now what you saw today, or until now, is just the research and the collection. But of course, we want to establish good workflows. And for that, here I mapped out our, let's say, standard UX design process. And we go from scoping to research to prototyping, user testing, UI design. I put the arrows here because we know it's never that linear, and we jump back and forth quite a lot within this process. And I'm just going to show you a bit now how things can change when you implement GenAI. The one thing is, for the scoping phase, we at Henkel, we sometimes get lots of research material. So we have maybe lots of PowerPoint presentations, PDFs, just Word documents. So it's a lot to digest. So with the help of AI, we can cluster it better, we can summarize. So ideally, when we onboard to a new project, the onboarding phase will become a bit smoother because we are not overwhelmed by all this information. Also, as UX designers at the beginning, when we try to think of new websites or new app, we of course do a competitor analysis. Also here, there are now great tools out there that can help us. So in the end, this whole phase becomes a bit easier for us because we can digest content faster, we can build our knowledge quicker, and we can get maybe the right goals quicker. For that, we are, for example, using Aspot. I'm not paid to give you any recommendations for tools, but as I said, I wanted to be hands-on today to show you what helped us in our team. And there you can definitely compare websites and get a quick competitor analysis. For the research phase, this is very relevant for all of you here. We are moving a bit from manual to automation. What does it mean? Well, I don't know how you did interviews before, so when I prepared them, I thought about the questions, I thought about how to phrase them correctly. Then I maybe redefined it. We found the interview partners, we conducted the interview. Sometimes I was alone because nobody else had time, so I was still documenting and typing and doing all of that. So all of this, we can automate now, right? We can have an automatic transcription, we can have an automatic summary, but what does it mean? It doesn't mean that this part is now completely neglected, but for me it means that because all of what's happening around me is automated, I have now time to look at the person sitting across from me and actually paying empathy towards the person, and also the micro nuances. So you know it best when you conduct interviews yourself, that people tell you one thing and then in the face you can see maybe a different thing. So all these things that really matter on the human side, I have more focus on now, and I see a big chance here. The tool that works for us is called Dovetail. Again, not being paid to display this. And there, the interviews are automatically structured, the key findings are out, and so on. Still, it doesn't mean that you are leaving everything up to the tool. So here also experiment for yourself which of the things you want to outsource to the AI and which things you want to put the focus on in your team. For the prototyping phase, this is quite important, especially for low fidelity. We all know that sometimes it's hard to pitch ideas. I work for a very big company. There are lots of projects happening at the same time. So what happens if you have a great idea? you need a visual side to it in order to convince stakeholders. And for that, I really enjoy having now tools at hand where you can just get a prototype quickly. This will never be the high fidelity design. This will never be in development, but it just helps you to get a pitch across. And for that, I really like that you can quickly create. Now it's 2, okay. Okay, now we got it, I think. You can. Now I'm a bit out. Okay, so for the prototyping before, I was sitting in front of an empty paper. Now I can create prototypes and just adapt them. So 70% is done by the AI, and the last 30 I can do. But from a let's say pitching perspective, before I maybe needed 1 or 2 weeks to prepare a pitch. Now I can do it in 2 or 3 days, and that's really cool. Yeah. For that we use AIgents. And this tool, as I said, for me is not a high fidelity tool. And I would also not recommend in going too far with this. But for the first prototyping phase, I would recommend it, especially if otherwise it would mean that you will not see your idea through and it will just end up dead, right? So at least to try, I would use that. And for testing, again here, yeah, please for yourself see what can be automated, what can be done by yourself. But also the testing phase is often neglected, right? So we put so much energy into the prototyping, into the convincing, and then oops, no time for testing. And this shouldn't happen, yeah? And there are great plugins also. We are using Cluify from Figma that help us a bit with data sets. But of course, when we are unsure, you always have to test with real people. For the user interface, I also see a big benefit. Not for the high fidelity prototype, because we realized in our teams that we are still experts also in UI. So when we want to create a high fidelity prototype, we will be faster than any tool given. Nevertheless, we can get some help. And here I give you an example. So we are collaborating with Adobe at Henkel, and you sometimes just want to create a website already with the real assets. Before you had to wait maybe for the marketing teams, for the branding teams to provide you with content. Now, to get a realistic view on the prototype, you can do it quickly yourself, yeah, with these tools. And this again helps you with the process, yeah. So now we are through the beginner, moving into intermediate. I hope you can still follow me. I know I talk very fast sometimes. And this is then about tool proficiency and confidence gains. Now I'm going to drink a bit of water. So confidence, what do I mean by this? I don't know how often you are in the situation that people tell you, but AI will soon do this, AI will soon do that. And then you are like, okay, where am I in this, right? And also maybe you don't have the right arguments. So I put together this together with my team to say, okay, what are we owning as humans in our team? We are owning collaboration, empathy, critical eye, problem solving, creative thinking. And where is the AI helping us? UI design, design systems, copywriting, data analysis. Yeah? And this is for me a good example of where we can say, okay, here is us, this is what we do, and this is how AI can help us. Nevertheless, here's a circle around this called human curation. And also in my team, I say, don't let the AI do their thing alone, right? So we need to be the experts in the end judging it. Because especially with all these tools out there, the results, we can be blinded by the results because they look so ready. Or the tool promises so much that you are not questioning it properly. I think we need to question it more. So we need to even gather more knowledge as an expert to see what is good and what is not. At the same time, then, it was time for us to use our knowledge and build our first AI tool for Henkel. And we started with the employee. This is called the Playground AI. And it's based on ChatGPT-4. And we put our own interface to it. And what do I mean by this? So we interviewed the employees at Henkel and asked them, hey, what is your everyday trouble? What do you need? And then we came up with these 3 main use cases: compose emails, compare PDF documents, and summarize documents. Here it's important that we are not talking to a UX audience, but it's a company of 50,000 employees. So of course we wanted to make it as employee friendly as possible. Also, we have here the free play with prompts. And once you go into these use cases, you will get lots of prompting help, because we realized that to understand how to prompt, and the things I showed you before, is especially for someone who has never dealt with GenAI before, not so accessible. So in order to make it accessible, we really try to grab the employee by the hand, yeah, and help. And also, I think it's also about democratizing it a bit. Not only that people that are, let's say, skilled in digital can use it, but everyone, yeah, because then it gives you a lot of help. Another thing we did is we started to customize and play around with our own models. Here again, we teamed up with Adobe and we trained our own model for brand assets. So here I'm not going deeper into it, but we basically iterated on a model. We had 4 brands participating, and we had 16 custom trained models to get imagery quick. Imagery for shorter campaigns, for social media, for everything where you want to create content fast that doesn't live, like say, in the internet for years. But I think if you want to have a very cool qualitative campaign, this would not be enough. But especially for those medium-sized campaigns, it's very good. And here we experimented for months, yeah, and it was super also interesting for me to see how this model learns over time, how we are training it and getting better, and also working together with brand managers who are not in the details, but they could exactly say, hey, the hair looks fake. This is not how hair looks like. And then we had to somehow experiment. How do we make hair look realistic? And that was super cool. Now we are coming into the advanced, yeah, this is where I want to be in 3 years when I serve, maybe, or maybe it's going to take 5. But with AI, I think we are already there. And as mentioned, this field is evolving very quickly. So what I'm showing you today, probably in a year, will have lost like 50–60% of its relevance. Yeah, so here again, it's about trying and trying again. But what I wanted for our team is to become so-called subject matter experts in UX AI. Yeah? And how can we do this? Because we are a small team, we are 8 people, we are located in Berlin, the headquarters is in Düsseldorf, it's a global company. So how can we make, as a smaller team, let's say, an impact in a field that's overarching, right? So we decided to offer in-person GenAI workshops for the whole company. And there we train people, we educate them, and they can also bring their use cases. We will consult them on how they can bring their use cases to life. And this we do monthly for 20 participants. It's not that much, and maybe you also think, yeah, why don't you do it digitally and online? Yeah, because we are building different stations there. We are then putting one person to each station. They can consult, so the effect is a bit better than just listening to something online. I mean, also, you know it today. If you would listen to me now on a YouTube, probably you would have drinking 3 coffees by now, and I don't know, and maybe on TikTok in parallel and so on. If a person is standing there, I think you can learn a lot more. And here you can see just some results, yeah, of the things we created with them. And the outcome is that we are, in a way, creating mini influencers and advocates for this topic, because I really think that this is going to touch all of us sooner or later, and I want to change the company from within as much as I can. And the other part is that I also had the need or the want to create cross-functional business impact, because I mean, if we as a small team use AI now in an elaborate way, it's still not the biggest impact, right? So how can we do it better? For that, we created a workshop framework, which we also are offering to all the different business units at Henkel. And here we put the focus on desirability, because when you explore opportunities of AI within your company, you might just want to say, let's add a bit AI here, let's add a bit AI there. But the thing is, why? What's the value? What changes for the user? What gets better because of this? And here I really want to put this user centricity deep into the company, because sometimes also we can be a bit more tech focused than user focused. And I wanted to be at the beginning there in these use cases to make sure that we have the desirability aspect covered from the beginning on. Yeah, I mean, I would really recommend it also for you. I mean, especially because we have the research skills, we have the UX skills, and they are so valuable, not only in the small, or sometimes only digital field, but it's way broader. And I would really, would love for you to become advocates in this. So this was the very fast summary of 2 years of research of the past, of my past, and what we did in the team, how we moved from beginner to intermediate to advanced. And I hope really that you could follow me first, and that you could learn something for yourself. And we will open now the room for questioning, but our journey continues, yeah? So we will never be done. You have to keep on learning. The same for me. Also today, if I would have held the presentation maybe 2 months ago, it would be completely different, yeah? Because we are already evolving. And so I invite you to evolve with me, yeah? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Laura Müller. And even if we had a little technical fuck up in the beginning, we still have time for questions. Simonetta is over there. She has a microphone. That microphone is for you. There's a first question over there and the second one over here. Okay, and we're starting to build a row.
Okay. Hello. Yeah. First of all, thanks a lot. Really inspiring. I please have a question to these workshop templates you showed us. I did not fully get the point. So did you created these templates and integrated their AI tools inside, so to show the company how to use it, or?
Yeah, that's a good. Thank you. So it's in this case we. At the moment at Henkel, we are trying to identify potential use cases where we can use AI. And lots of departments have ideas how to do it. And it's very hard to identify which ones are we going to build and which ones we are not going to build. So in order to prioritize, we put this workshop format up. So we have a focus on desirability, so we are not just building it to use AI in a certain use case, but really see, okay, we are creating this to create this certain value.
There was another question.
Thanks again for this talk. And my question is, how do you sort of synchronize, or how do you gather ideas for internal tools that you provide to all your 50,000 people? Who is entitled to join the workshops?
So this came a bit from the team, and everyone is entitled to join when we are offering them for everyone. And regarding tooling, it's a much more complex process, which I'm not, let's say, I'm not the leader of this process, yeah, because there are many things in place. Also, it's, of course, a budget decision and so on. So there are bigger steering committees that take care of this, yeah.
There were more questions. Third row, and then we go 1 row back after that. And then we go to this side.
Genau. Nee, danke nochmal für den Talk. Oh, thank you for the talk. Sorry, I spoke German. No, I was just curious, at Henkel, do you have any experience with AI influencers? So really AI-generated avatars who created content and maybe even have their own channel, or is that not something you've dived in yet?
So I cannot speak for the whole company because sometimes I don't know what's going on in different marketing teams. We in the team experimented because I needed to do an interview and the person only spoke Chinese. So I I created an avatar of myself, then put a Chinese language in and then did a video interview with this Chinese person. So for that I used it, yeah.
There was another question over here, and after that over there.
Okay, thank you for this interesting talk, very practical. I was wondering, how did you deal with security guidelines when you were presenting all these tools that you've tested? I was wondering, how did you match this with the governance of Henkel? Henkel is a very big corporation, and
yeah.
I've seen even on the playground slide, it mentioned security guidelines. So
yeah.
how did you get...
So regarding the tools, it's very hard to get them through from a secure point of view. So we are experimenting with the tools not using Henkel-owned data because this would be forbidden, right? Nevertheless, for the research, I think it's important you can try out any tool, right, with your own content. When it comes then to our own Henkel tools, there we are very much in line, and I was also part of the legal, let's say, discussions also regarding the Adobe partnership. And to start the pilot, it took weeks of legal work. Which was quite difficult. Same for the playground. One of the reasons we created it is that employees have a secure environment they can experiment on and not be giving the data maybe sometimes randomly to tools. Yeah, but here you have to be very careful, and I would definitely say seek the advice of the legal team as much as possible, so you are not running into any difficulties. Yeah.
There was another question over there.
Yeah, thank you again also for the insights. Another legal question, actually. So, as far as I know, for instance, in the US, GenAI created graphics or pictures are not copyrighted. So, I'm not sure about the legal situation in Germany, but how do you handle that?
Yeah, so in case of the custom model you built with Adobe, we feed it our own assets that we have the rights to. So in this case, we could do it. Yeah? But in general, no. I mean, for example, we would not be allowed to just use a random graphic from Midjourney for campaign purposes. Yeah. But I'm not I'm not standing here as a legal expert. Yeah. But I'm trying still to answer. Yeah. Because I had the same conflicts happening often. Yeah.
You missed out on studying the law.
Yeah. Next time. Yeah.
Next time. Okay, next year. Yeah. Further questions? There's one more over here. Microphone is coming over to you. This guy, by the way, is taking very nice notes. I saw you drawing in your notebook.
Considering just a practical question, or the AI playground you did you see a difference in uptake when you provided tools that are specific and then the playground tool? And what we've seen when we're giving the open model where you have to prompt yourself and giving prompt classes, we see a spike in usage and then it drops. And is there if you do the specific tools like doing the PDF or doing the assistant for times, is there do you see something in the numbers of usage if these are performing better?
I don't know in comparison to what doing better. This I didn't understand.
We see whenever we do a workshop.
Simonetta, would you go back with the microphone? Sorry.
Typically, if you do a ChatGPT workshop or something like this, we see on our in-house tool, we have an in-house as well. And if we do just okay, you have the box where you have to type in the prompt, and then this works 2 weeks, and then we can see an uplift in the numbers, and then it goes down. And we've seen already little hints that specific tools are used more regularly. Do you see this?
Yeah, for sure. So for us, it's also picking up. Yeah. It goes gradually up because then people tell each other and so on. Yeah, it's a handy tool. Yeah.
I think there were another question here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just a more general question. You're speaking of the workshops you're having 20 people per month attending, so it's 120 people per year. From Henkel, it's 50,000 people. So how are you fostering GenAI literacy in the company itself? It seems like the Berlin hub is innovation hub in the sense of UX UI, but at the same time, how is it reaching the whole corporate identity of using, but also imagine people being at Henkel for 30, 40 years. How is it reaching them?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a huge company and there are all kinds of AI movement groups. So we are not the only one. And I think this is the only key to it, yeah, because we in the team alone will never be able to handle it. We are offering classes also. I mean, for the playground, the question was, for example, for that also, I did a digital format together with a colleague where we announced it to the whole company. So there are formats that are global, and then there are formats that are more catered towards people that really also need it maybe more in their everyday life, like marketeers and brand managers, for example, but it's going to take some time. And also, we have bigger steering committees that also then tickle it down to the whole organization. Yeah, we are just, let's say, one part. Yeah.
Is there anything else? Try to see you through the light. I'm not sure if the hand you saw is not just the camera guy operating the camera. Okay, seems like everybody is happy and satisfied. Laura, thank you so much for being here. Please give a big hand.